Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. His name is Jimmy the Bag. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Wednesday, November 22nd. This is the Loshak in the Bag show for Wednesday, November 22nd. We come to you from sportsbookreview.com, of course, and this is the show where we give all of our official picks. Big news from yesterday. Jimmy the Bag and I both nailed 3 cashers in NHLs. We're both back in the black. Actually, back in the black more than a unit.
Yeah.
So we don't have to do one of those things where we're like, oh, as long as I'm up a half unit, I'm happy. No, it's a couple units, Jim. Not bad. A couple units, Jim. Crazy shit with college basketball, right? Massive card, right?
Yep.
Every day, and we are tweeting out our picks. We are officially positive in college basketball as well, although it's a little bit close, cutting it close. We're both up about half a unit, but all right. So let's just forget about the jokes and the bullshit today, because we got a massive card in NHL and NBA and college basketball. And I looked at the games that did have overnight lines, 10 in each of them. I already tweeted out a few college basketball plays. I did tweet out Iowa on the first half at -1.5. Now I don't know where it closed, but I also bet them at -3, and the line is now up to 5. So my tweets, of course, at college basketball do go on my official record, and nice job there, right, Jim? I tweeted out the first half at -1.5. It's now up to, well, I don't have the first half here, but the full game is up to 5.5 or 6. Of course, UAB is off of an overtime game. And I also tweeted out the Purdue team total over. Purdue is just like one of these teams that, they're going to be a 30-point favorite. They're going to have high totals, but the best bets with Purdue, game in and game out, might just be on their team total overs. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're right. I think you're right. I need to figure out these teams with these huge spreads, if they're just going to be first half plays and then empty the bench in the second half, as we saw happening last night with some of the big teams. But I think you're right on track. All right.
So, anything else you want to talk about? Yeah, in college football. Sorry about that. I went 1-2. 1-2 yesterday in college football, and the Akron one was looking like it was going to go over 31 points in the first half, but it didn't. I'm okay with all the bets I made, although the Eastern Michigan bet was obviously the wrong side, and there was one commenter who went head to head with me, and he cashed. Very nicely done. I think that was J.D. Williams. But that is why you have to bet size appropriately, because you will have your 1 and 2 days. Sometimes you make bad picks, sometimes you make good picks, and the luck doesn't go your way. So I'm not super jazzed about my college football record yesterday, but I'm okay with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have a monster college football record. Who cares at 1 and 2?
Not monster. I'm like 5 units or something. All right. So, and anything else? What else happened yesterday? In NBA. Nice job, Jin. You had a winner. I had a loser. We both were kind of like you went on it last minute, and you got a casher on that one, and I lost with the over. I'm assuming you watched that game, right? Or you followed it, or
you know what? I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to cap 29 games, so I wasn't able to watch the whole game.
Is Vegas just? I mean, are the Lakers just a bad offensive team that they can't cover big spreads? Well, they did cover the big spread, but we shouldn't be betting overs with them.
I think so. They're the 4th best rebounding team in the league. They're also the 4th best defensive rating team with defensive rating, which caught me by surprise this morning. I think they're going to be a tricky team as we move forward. And I think the Bulls are going to be a tricky team as well. And with the Lakers going to Sacramento tonight is a tricky game.
Very much so. Very much so. All right, so let's get into it. Lakers going to Sacramento tonight. That's actually a game that I didn't look at because there wasn't an overnight line, but we do have 10 games on the card that had overnight lines, and then 5 other ones that didn't. So we got 14 games. All right, we'll try to cover as much as we can here, but then at a certain point, we do have to move on to NHL, which has a massive slate of games. All right, let's just look at this. First thing I was thinking about, just off the top of my head, Jim, obviously Minnesota has had a couple of rough games. Orlando getting beat game in and game out. Minnesota first half looks like kind of a no-brainer play. Is that a play that has some value, or is that wrong?
I think that is a play that has some value. I'm going to take the full game. But I'm on the Wolves for sure. Magic have lost 5 straight. The idea that we had was that as soon as Alfred Payton came back, they would start winning again. That's not happening. Their hot shooting start was an aberration. Vucevic continues to play well, but he's the only one who's playing well, and he's going to have his hands full with Karl Anthony Towns. The issue with the Timberwolves, I was going over their roster today, is Andrew Wiggins. What is happening? He is not playing like the stud that I thought he was. 16.9 points per game, 4.6 rebounds. He's a better player than that. He's had 11 points in 3 of his last 6 games. The Wolves have looked bad on the road. They're 5-2 at home. I expect them to take care of business and win by double digits.
All right, so you want to make that an official play?
I do.
All right, 5 Dimes actually has 6.5. We don't use 5 Dimes lines, but we can give you Pinnacle -7, -102. -7, -102, Jim.
Love it.
Minnesota, -7.
And are you going to take the first half?
I got to think about this. I mean, it seems like such an obvious play, and yes, I won't overthink it. Let me just find where that what that line is. The first half, Minnesota first half. Is there a 3.5 there? Yes, it's all 3.5s. Wow. Is Vucevic going to be able to deal with Towns inside or not? You think Towns is going to have a good game?
I think Towns is going to have a good game, and I think it's going to exhaust Vucevic. I think it's going to exhaust him.
Minnesota first half -3.5, -106. Feels a little bit trappy to me, a little bit too obvious. All right. The other plays I'm liking on this card are a bunch of totals. Let's quickly get to one of the totals that I was looking at, and then we'll get to some of your picks, Jim. Dallas is playing Memphis, right? Now, the Dallas game against Boston, it did go under, damn it, in regulation, but it didn't go over with overtime, so I had to eat a loss on that one. Memphis obviously having problems scoring, and this game appears to my eye to have under written all over it. Is that true or not?
I think that is true. The Grizzlies have been shooting terribly.
Right.
Their defense has improved a lot. They've shot 37.2 from the field in their last 2 games, 26.3% from 3. They've lost 5 straight, including 3 straight at home since the Mike Conley injury. And I love, like we talked about, and we saw it last year, this Mavericks team getting off to a terrible start, and then Rick Carlisle figuring everything out.
Yeah.
He is a great coach with a below-average basketball team. And I'm staying away from the total on this, but I've got a big call. I'm taking the Mavericks on the money line.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, let me find that. Yeah, I thought that the Mavericks plus the points might be worth a shot. Wow. All right, Jim loves the volatility with these big underdogs, and the best line we can give you right now, it is a little bit all over the place at BetDSI, +205. +205. Dallas on the money line, +205. Memphis definitely been struggling. And Dallas, obviously, I mean, I don't think you can disregard what happened against Boston. That's a team that has some life to them, right?
Yeah. And I was deciding all morning whether to take the +5.5 or take the money line. And I've got a few dogs on the card, and I say I ride with them.
Yeah. BetDSI also has +6. But Jim's going to go with the money line, +5 and +205. All right. Yeah, I would definitely not disagree with that. And I will throw on the under there as well. Under 197.5, -102 is the best line right now at Pinnacle. Now let's move on to another game that is certainly interesting. I don't know if you're going to have a pick on this one, but certainly from a handicapping perspective, it's interesting, and that is the return of Eric Bledsoe to Phoenix, right?
Absolutely.
Return of Eric Bledsoe to Phoenix, and on top of that, Phoenix has actually been playing a little bit better recently, and on top of that, Milwaukee actually is a little bit banged up, so maybe this is a perfect storm of circumstances to take Phoenix. What do you think?
I don't know what they're going to do with Tyson Chandler back tonight, because what they've been doing is they've had Greg Monroe starting and then Alex Len and Dragan Bender on the second unit. And this second unit has scored at least 50 points in 3 straight games. Yeah. I don't know how Chandler is going to affect that, and I really want to see how they play. TJ Warren giving them a second scoring option at 18.6 points per game, 5.9 rebounds has been unbelievably impressive. Suns are 7-8 under Triano. I see why you like that spot. What's the line?
For Phoenix.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking about the first half or the full game. For Phoenix, it's actually 5.5 or 6. BetDSI has 6 -110. And the first half I was thinking about, interestingly, no threes available, only 2.5. So that's kind of interesting. But I would definitely be leaning Phoenix here on the first half and the full game and maybe the first quarter. But I don't know. I want to take them. I don't know if I want to triple up on it, but I'm definitely leaning full game and first half for sure.
I'm very interested in this game, and I'm concerned with this game. I'm concerned about what Bledsoe is going to do. He's only averaging 11.8 points per game with the Bucks. Is he going to explode? I don't know. I'm leaving this game off of my official picks.
All right, well, I'm taking it. Phoenix +6 -110 at BetDSI is the best line now, and I'm definitely leaning +2.5 on the first half as well. I'll have to think about that for a little bit. Then another game. Let's move on to one other game that I'm definitely thinking about. Chicago against Utah, right? Now, Chicago, of course, coming off of the loss, but Utah really struggling. And I'm thinking, Chicago has had some life to them as a team as far as playing against teams that are vulnerable, which Utah clearly is, they're having trouble figuring things out. I'm thinking that Chicago on the first half at least might be a good bet, getting a decent amount of points at 5. What do you think?
I think that's a good play.
Yeah.
Clearly, since Gobert's injury, the Jazz are getting destroyed in the paint. My question is, do the Bulls have the personnel to exploit the advantages? So first off, they need to have the personnel to exploit the paint, and then the Jazz have allowed 4 of their last 5 opponents to shoot better than 46% from 3.
Right, which is not what Chicago did.
Not really. So because of that, I'm actually leaving this game alone. I see your angle, and the angle makes sense. But because I was really going over the roster, and I was seeing, do they have the personnel to exploit these advantages? And I don't know if they do. All
right, well, I'm going to take it. Bulls on the first half, +5, -110. That's the line right now at Bookmaker and at BetDSI. Any comments?
Yeah, J.D. Williams, Chicago first half.
Okay, J.D. Williams. I think that's the guy who went against me last night in the Eastern Michigan game. So clearly that's a guy who kind of knows what he's talking about. So good to see that I'm on the same side as him here. I will make that one an official pick. There's a bunch of other picks that I might make and leans that I got. But Jim, why don't we go to you? What's what the games we haven't touched on yet? What are you really liking tonight?
I like a few games, but I wouldn't mind if we could just answer this quick question for Julian Yassin. He says, "Hey Pete in the bag, when you're talking about line shopping and SBR odds, does that mean you need an account at each of the books you are looking at?"
No, they just let you bet for free, and if you win, they give you money, and if you lose, you don't have to pay. Of course, you have to have it. Yes, you have to have an account at the book,
and that's why we are exploiting the ability to shop for odds. Now we have certain books that we don't take. But that's what we're doing here. We're exploiting the ability to shop at different books.
And that is definitely something, obviously, for professional bettors, the lines and the odds that they can get that's one of the cornerstones of what they do. They make sure they're always getting the best line, certainly the best line available, and they try to get the best line that was ever available by timing market moves. But yes, so if you're a rec player, who's betting $5 a game, you can probably get just one book is fine. But if you're doing it even from a recreational perspective with a higher dollar amount, you definitely want to expand out to at least a couple books that tend to have different lines. And you can find out all that information at sportsbookreview.com, where every book is reviewed, and not just reviewed for whether it's a book you should play at or not, but what the relative strengths and minuses are of the books. All the books that we use when we're quoting these lines are all books that have been around for a long time. They're very, very reliable and very trustworthy as far as keeping your money in it is concerned. So we don't use any, and they're all books that'll take relatively high dollar amounts, right? So we don't take like for instance Bovada, great book, Bodog, a great book, but they're kind of a rec book, so we don't include them. But there's no reason that you shouldn't play there, and the reasons why you shouldn't play there, if you can be found at sportsbookreview.com.
Very well put, Pete. Very
All right.
well put.
So
yeah, I like a game right here. I like the Hornets, and I'm very interested in the under, and I want to get your take on it.
Okay.
But I'm definitely going to take the Hornets. Definitely at the -2.5. If I'm still getting 2.5. Charlotte's won their first 2 games of the homestand in very impressive fashion. They've beat the Clippers and Timberwolves by an average of 15.5 points. They're getting production from a whole bunch of players now. Howard has 41 points and 36 boards over the last 2 games. Batum and Lamb have 62 points combined over these last 2 games. And the Wizards, like you predicted, are finally playing good defense. They've allowed just 100 or more points once in their last 7 games. They're defending the perimeter very well. Opponents are just hitting 33.1% on threes against them, and they will have to do that tonight if they have a chance with the Hornets, who are hitting 42.3% of their threes on this homestand. Now, the fear I have is that Wall seems to always outplay Walker, but I'm guessing he will still be dealing with the effects of the knee injury that made him sit out the Raptors game, and Walker will have an advantage tonight.
So what do you want here?
I want the Hornets. And I'm very interested in the under.
All right. Well, we were just talking about line shopping, and this is a perfect example of why line shopping is important. There's 2.5s market wide. The odds vary from book to book a little bit, but Bookmaker, which is obviously one of the cornerstones of the industry going back since forever, is actually at -2. So we can give you Charlotte -2, -110, Jim.
Perfect.
Okay.
And Bobby, the Mush has said that Washington has 9 straight unders.
Yes, I know about that. And yes, the line has gotten bet down a little bit. I would be leaning under as well. It does seem a little bit not necessarily trappy, but it's a little bit too obvious. But as we know, sometimes these these streaks in the middle of the year can actually have fundamental reasons, and they can be worth betting into, like when Columbus in the NHL won like 16 games in a row at the point where they were winning 12 in a row, where they won their 12th game in a row. You're like, well, should I bet the 13th in a row? And there are fundamental reasons why they did so well. Same thing with Washington. There are fundamental reasons why they have been on an under trend, and I did take the under on this one, and I would lean that way again.
I'm going to do it.
All right. The best line right now would be under 209 minus 106. It has gotten bet down a little bit. It was 210.5. That's where I got it on the opening line. Under 210.5 minus 106. Under 210.5 minus 106. Oh, sorry, minus 209 minus 106. And I will go on that one with you as well. Charlotte under 209 minus 106. I will take that one. Let's quickly get to some comments to see if anyone is asking about. Oh, here we go. Nasty Nate saying you guys are the best thing since free vagina. There you go.
Wow.
SBR Brasslin hires up. Treat us as such. You got me? There we go. Best thing since free vagina, according to Nasty Nate.
Hey guys, do you think there's such a thing as a free vagina?
As a free, yes. Oh shit! See, Wanma, I keep telling you, I keep telling you guys about Wanma, the guy behind the screen here doing all the tech work. Cool guy, sharp guy. There you go. Good point, Juan. Checkmate on that one. Yes, absolutely. You know, Wanma just checkmated us and Nasty Nate.
He did.
All right, let's move on to the rest of the NBA card. What else do you want? So far right now, Jim, you've given Minnesota -7, Dallas money line plus 205, Charlotte -2 minus 110, Charlotte under 209 minus 106. I have to give Minnesota first half -3.5, Memphis under 197.5, Phoenix +6, Chicago first half +5, and the Charlotte under 209 minus 106.
Reggie just says, so we know the camera guy pays for booty.
Yes, we did. Well,
no.
I'm just saying he's making an existential point there. He's making an existential point there. Yes, Wanma, sharp guy. All right. I would love to go on with this joke for about 3 or 4 more minutes, but unfortunately we got 30 NBA and NHL games tonight. So let's move on. Jimmy the Bag, what else has caught my eye? I don't know. The Cleveland-Brooklyn game is interesting. Obviously, Cleveland's turned a little bit of a corner in terms of playing well. It's also a revenge game, right? Brooklyn did beat Cleveland earlier in the year. Maybe you want to take Cleveland here. Maybe a shot with the under, because these two teams have started to go a little bit lower scoring after being explosively high-scoring teams at the beginning of the year. What do you think?
I've just had such a bad read with the Cavaliers. I've been losing with them constantly. I'm just going to leave this game alone, study it, and this might be very stupid, but I'm going to take the under at it's actually getting headed up, and once again, line chopping is paramount. This line is 227 all the way up to 228.5 market wide. Pinnacle has 227, and Bookmaker on the other side has 228.5. So I will take the under 228.5 minus 110 in the Brooklyn-Cleveland game. Obviously, both teams can be super high scoring, but I am going to take a shot with the under here, and I might get burned, but that's all right. Jimmy the Bag. Oh, all right. We haven't even talked about it, but let's talk about it. Whether or not we have a pick on it, it's an interesting game. Toronto against New York, right? We all saw what happened when Toronto went into New York last time. My overall record in NBA is good. Not thanks to that game, though. I had New York 2 ways on that one, and I did get burned. They did bounce back in their next game and got a nice win and cover. The question here is, who is the real New York Knicks? Jim, can you answer that? I can't answer that. And the Raptors look great. 1-6-7, including that 17-point thrashing you speak of. New York just shot 33%, held Porzingis to 13 points. Raptors shot 56.4%. Obviously, those numbers are going to come back to the middle. Raptors defeated the Wizards next out without John Wall and looked awful. Shot 25.6 from 3, 70% from the line. And then the Knicks looked very good dismantling the Clippers. So we saw both sides of these two teams in the last 2 games, and it's a difficult game to figure out, and I'm leaving it alone.
All right, it certainly is. Here's an interesting comment from Reggie, a guy who obviously knows his basketball very, very well. He says, Hollis Jefferson tweeted LeBron after the Knicks game and said, y'all didn't do us like that. Uh-oh. Does that mean that LeBron is pissed here and they're going to come in and win by 50?
I think that LeBron couldn't give a fuck what Hollis Jefferson has to say.
You think?
I do, and I'm almost certain that he couldn't care less and wouldn't waste a second on wasting any energy on Hollis Jefferson.
I don't know. I feel like when you're a guy like LeBron James, those tweets do get under your head. And you know what I'm saying?
LeBron gets in fights with the president. You think he gives a fuck about Hollis Jefferson?
Who knows? But yeah, certainly. Now, why the hell would you do that? Why the hell would you tweet a sleeping giant bear and be like, ha ha, and be like, I mean, what does Hollis Jefferson think is going to happen? Maybe Hollis Jefferson just thinks, all right, even if we do get blown out this game, we beat them once, we're good. So maybe this has Cavs blowout written all over it.
It's a really interesting point that Reggie drops. I'm happy that he did it. So I don't mean to totally disregard the comment because it's great.
Yeah.
But you're right. You don't want to poke LeBron.
Yep, Reggie says Cavs will beat them down, which doesn't necessarily mean that the under isn't a good bet, because the Cavs have definitely been playing better defense recently. Okay, I'm on the under on that one. We'll see how it turns out. As far as the Knicks and Toronto game, yeah, I guess that has to be a pass. But why would we not like me? Yeah, I feel like the factors that allowed Toronto to dominate in the first game are probably going to be in play here again. No?
Well, I thought that, and then I took the Clippers after a whole day of thinking about it, and they stomped the Knicks stomped on the Clippers.
That's a totally different situation.
Absolutely.
Because the Clippers are ass.
They're right, and I'm going to go against the Clippers today, but the Knicks can score. They're not a team that shoots 33%.
All right. Well, I'm going to pass on that one as well. Let's move on to the Clippers game. They are playing Atlanta, and Atlanta suddenly playing kind of respectably, right? The Clippers continue to not play respectably, yet Atlanta is getting some points here at home. Is that just a market mispricing, and Atlanta has value as a home dog?
I think so, and I'm going to take Atlanta on the money line.
Oh, shit. Jim ramping up the volatility. Let's see. The best line we can give you for Atlanta, actually not that great. Plus 123 at Pinnacle right now.
Oh, wow. Plus 123.
It opened at plus 137, but obviously, let's see what the spread is right now. The spread is down to 2.5. Yeah, it was 3.5 on the overnight line. Now it's down to 2.5. So.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Okay, so Jim's going to take Atlanta money line plus 123. Atlanta money line plus 123 to beat the Clippers. Yeah, I mean, the Clippers just can't beat anyone. They can't score.
They look bad. The Clippers are shit again. All is right in the world. Beverly came back versus the Knicks. Didn't look so good. 22 minutes, 9 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. I expect him to get better. But I'm loving, and I know people are hating on me for this, but I'm loving Schroeder, Bazemore, and Prince 1, 2, 3. I love their athleticism, their speed, their length. I just think they're good. They're actually good. Now,
good.
The problem with the Hawks team is they're the 4 spot. So they just lost Luke Babbitt to back tightness. He won't play tonight. They got Ersan Ilyasova back, but he only played 7 minutes last game, so it's obviously going to take him a while to get rolling. John Collins better be ready to go, but I think this is a nice spot for Atlanta. Yeah,
okay, Jim's on Atlanta, and I was leaning under again. The Clips just can't really score. What do you think about the under there? You've obviously looked at this game pretty closely, and my lean is to the under on this one.
I think that you're on the right track for sure, and we've got a lot of interesting comments. Bobby the Mush says Hawks all the way bag. Searcy, our man Justin Searcy says Atlanta, yes, and Beverly out for the foreseeable future. I did not know that when I was studying this morning.
Yeah. Okay, and that might have something to do with the line movement that we have
absolutely
seen.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Angel Romero says Atlanta money, best bet for sure in Capitals.
Yeah, I mean, it does certainly seem that way based on how these two teams have been playing recently. All right, we're making good time here. Let's quickly review the picks, and then we'll get to more picks for the NBA card. Jim's on Minnesota -7, Dallas money line plus 205, Charlotte -2, Charlotte under 209 -106, Atlanta money line plus 123, Minnesota. I'm on Minnesota first half -3.5, Memphis under 197.5, Phoenix +6, Bulls first half +5, Cleveland under 228.5, and Charlotte under 209 -106. What else do you think you might want to give here, Jim, from today's massive NBA card?
I certainly know what I want to give. I've got more ready to go. I'm taking the Sixers this evening.
Shit. Okay.
Lillard is not on the injury report after spraining his foot in their last game. He did come back in the second half, put up 24. There was some questions about whether he would be able to. Now, Vonleh had a great game, replacing the Chief. 11 points, 18 boards. So that was a big hole the Blazers had, which looks like they've fixed. But these Sixers look so good. They shot 51.8% from the floor, outscored the Jazz 66-34 on points in the paint, out-rebounded them 55-34, held the Jazz to 35.3% from the field. I am sold on these Sixers.
Okay. All right. The Sixers, the best line right now. Let me find it. Let me find that game. It's like a college basketball card here. Where the hell is that Sixers game? Best line right now would be minus, again, line shopping matters, folks. It's 4.5 market wide, but if you're shopping, you can see at the Greek, it's -4, -110. So Jim can take Philly -4, -110, Jim.
Beautiful.
All right. What else would you like to add on while I scan these games to see if there's anything I'm forgetting that I wanted to give that we haven't gotten to yet?
I am taking the Miami Heat on the money line to stop the Celtics 16-game winning
That
streak.
was the game that I forgot. I was like, I know there's one game that I forgot, and that was the game that I forgot. Go ahead.
Yeah, Celtics have won 16 straight. They're a great basketball team. Kyrie is the MVP of the season so far. Dragic will have his hands full with them. But, and this is a big but, I think the Heat can play with these guys. Dion Waiters coming off an 0 for 10 game. I know he's going to play well. Kelly Olynyk wants to show the Celtics they were wrong for letting him go. The Heat's first half field goal percentage is 51.1%, good for 6th in the league. And then, for whatever reason, in the second half, they are dead last at 39.1%. They average a league low 20.4 points in the third quarter. That will not continue. That can't possibly continue.
Yes, I was thinking about Miami on the first half here as well. It's just there's some magic with Boston. They even managed to get the cover against Dallas in their last game, and it's just it's just having watched too many Kyrie Irving videos, it just makes me nervous betting against him. But it just feels like a spot to take Miami, and especially on the first half, I'm agreeing with you, Jim.
Yes, I think the first half is probably the better bet than the full game, and I might be making a mistake.
I don't know. Who knows?
Game.
You know, those. It is. The first half is just +1. Or no, sorry. Yeah, 5 dimes has 1. Oh, yeah. There we go. 5 dimes has 1.5. Oh, we don't use 5 dimes, so +1 minus 110 would be the best line. Is Miami going to actually be up at the half? I'm not exactly sure. The full game is down. Wow, 2.5 or 3. It was 3.5 on the opening line, and now it's down to 2.5 or 3. So money coming in on Miami, despite Boston just dominating game in and game out.
There's a lot of talk in the chat about this game right now.
What are they saying?
Well, Ervelina likes the Heat. Seriously thinks it's not a bad shot. Roll Dice says Miami, baby. Our boy Alonzo says no, Jimmy. Tay D says Celtics all the way. Justin Searcy says Heat love playing the Celtics. Alonzo says Boston first half too. Phil McCracken says no way, Jimmy.
It's just, I want to take Miami. It's just Boston is so good, and I wish we were getting like 4.5 instead of like 2.5 or 5.5 or something like that. Roll Dice says Miami. Wow. Oh shit. Phil McCracken says Boston low hanging fruit. Wow.
Yeah. Seriously says Dallas didn't have a rim protector. Miami did. Perfect Rotation, who I love capping with, says, Jimmy, don't bet against hot teams. They will rip your dick off and spit it out.
Jansen Bonzone says, your show is so good, I'm taking shorter lunch breaks to catch your show. SBR ownership, SBR higher-ups, SBR brass, take note. There we go. All right.
Brian Bosch says, Heat first half, awesome bet. Andrew Cisneros says, this is where the streak ends. Gerard says, Celtics roll with old Irving.
All right, fine. I'm off this game. That's too scary of a game. I feel like Miami is the right side, but Boston's been so good. It feels like the breaks are breaking their way, and just Kyrie Irving is just so sick, man. You know what I mean?
He's sick, but Dragic is not a bad point guard. Irving's the MVP of the season so far.
Kamari Durrell says, don't do it low. Take Boston. I'm not doing it. I'm off that game. I hope whoever bets it wins, which is impossible because it seems like everyone is on opposite sides of this one. I'm staying off it. Are you going to touch this one, Jim?
Yes, I am. I'm going to take the Miami Heat to stop the 16-game winning streak. I'm taking the Heat full game money line.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it feels like either they probably get blown out or they win the game outright. Let's see. Best money line right now would be plus 127 at Pinnacle. So Jim is taking Miami money line plus 127. Miami money line plus 127. All right. Okay. Other plays that I was thinking about were what was the other one I was thinking about? Where the hell is that game? I was thinking about the under in the. I was also thinking about the under in the Orlando-Minnesota game. It feels like Minnesota's clamping down defensively a lot better, and Orlando not really that productive offensively. What do you think about that? Is that a little bit? I mean, when Minnesota gets going, they can put up 130. They can have one of those type of games, but it feels like they're going to be a lot more defensive oriented. Going forward.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Just the Magic being in such a shooting lull and Wiggins in the shooting lull.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to take it. It was 215 when I looked at this game. It's now up to 216.5 or 217. So we'll see where it closes. As we've seen, a lot of these line moves in NBA don't mean dick. I'm going to take the under 217 minus 105. That's the current best line at Pinnacle. The Greek and Intertops both have 216.5, so that indicates a lean there. And then one final game we have to touch on before we get to the massive NHL card is San Antonio and New Orleans. The Spurs, despite their personnel, they're just a great program. They're tough to bet against. They tend to win and cover. And New Orleans, obviously great talent. They got a win against OKC last game, but 2 games before that, troubling losses. It's a very low line here considering the talent on New Orleans, just -2. What do you think?
It's a tough spot, and I thought about it all morning, and I've decided to stay off of this game. The Pelicans came back from 19 points down to defeat the Thunder without Boogie. Anthony Davis was superhuman. 44.5 minutes, all 24 in the second half, put up 36 points. I love the way Kyle Anderson has been playing, replacing Kawhi. I'm extremely impressed. I think the Spurs are the real deal, as always. In their 11-point victory over the Hawks, he had 13 points, 10 assists, and 6 rebounds. He's playing a point power forward position that puts his handles on display, and I'm extremely impressed. I don't know what's going to happen in this game, and I'm uncomfortable with it. Okay,
yeah, I agree with you. I'm not going to touch it. It's definitely an interesting one. All right, let's just about wrap this up. Are there any other picks you want to give?
Yes,
Jim?
I do have. I do have 2 more picks.
Oh, okay.
That I will quickly hammer out.
Wow.
First off, I am taking the Rockets to cover tonight. The Nuggets received very bad news with Paul Millsap, wrist surgery, out 2 to 3 months. They started Fareed on Monday. He didn't look very good. Maybe Plumlee gets a start tonight. They could go small and start Wilson Chandler there, but he's got lower back pain. He is going to be playing, so they're going to meet their old friend adversity. It's got to be the Nikola Jokic show. The Nuggets will need their depth, and they have their depth, but I love this Rockets team. With Chris Paul in the lineup, they're playing much better defensively, and they have a lot more potential to be a good defensive team. Additions of PJ Tucker and Luke Mbah a Moute have helped a great deal. The Rockets are only 4-3 at home, and because of that lackluster record, I think they're going to come in and just hammer these Nuggets this season.
You want it at -10.5.
Shit. What did it start at?
Started at 9.5. Now it's up to 10.5, Jim.
Shit.
I mean, that's just 1 point, but, the points do matter. 10.5 minus 101. I'd give you a 10, except I just line chopped, and there's no 10 available. Sometimes you go shopping and you don't find what you want,
I'm going to take the Rockets at -10.5.
-101 at Pinnacle.
At -101 to beat the Nuggets easily.
Okay, what else do you have, Jim? Let's wrap this up pretty quickly.
I have one final pick, and that is I'm taking the under in the Lakers-Kings game.
Okay.
Lakers are on the second half of a back-to-back in search of their 3rd straight win. I was shocked when I went over the stats of the Lakers. I was shocked that they're the 4th best in defensive rating and 4th best rebounding team going up against the Kings, who are the worst rebounding team in the league. And then the Kings, their offense, the worst offense in the league, and now they don't have Buddy Hield to put in some baskets. I think this is a nice spot, and I'm taking the under here.
207 it opened at 209. 207 minus 105 at Pinnacle is the best line right now we can give you, Jim.
Got it.
All right, so should we wrap this up?
We should, and just to let everybody know, we're both off of the Warriors. I know it's a huge game, Warriors Thunder. I don't have an official pick for it. The issue is Durant being questionable, so there's a possibility that we bring it in on the later show tonight. But
we will be doing a show at 6 o'clock again, where we will touch on some of these other games if any new information comes in, and we might add picks. Yesterday I did add St. Louis in the NHL, and I had a nice winner with that one. All right, so let me just review the official NBA. Is that it for you, Jim?
That's it.
All right, let's review the official picks for right now. While I'm reviewing, why don't you check to see if there's any last-minute comments that are really important, and then we'll move on to NHL. Jim is on Minnesota, -7. Dallas moneyline plus 205. Charlotte -2, and the Charlotte under 209. He's on Atlanta moneyline plus 123. Miami moneyline plus 127. Houston -10.5. Sacramento under 207, and Philly -4. And I'm on Minnesota first half -3.5. Memphis under 197.5. Phoenix +6. Bulls first half +5. Cleveland under 228.5. Minnesota under 217, and Charlotte under 209 -106. Jimmy the Bag, any comments that are notable?
Some interesting comments. Jennifer Gooding says Warriors -4.5 is the play of the day. I'm on it for a dime.
Okay, we will. I have not had time to look at that because there's no overnight line. We'll maybe look at that more and get to it in the 6 o'clock show. Right?
JC Hill loves the Rockets. Has the over in the Rockets game as well. Skooma Steve. Jin Rummy likes the Nets Cavs first half over. And then Michael Ervelina has a question that he really wants help with, and then maybe you can help quickly. I know we got to get on the hockey fast, but he says, please help. Question for both of you. Is there an app I can enter my bets to get the units ROI and average line like you guys have?
Is there an app? I don't know. I just use a spreadsheet. He wants to know what the units and the ROI are.
No, just if there's an app or anything. So I don't use an app either. I use the numbers. Well, I guess it's an app. The numbers thing on my Apple, and you have a great one on your.
I just made a spreadsheet which calculates it pretty easily. But yeah, I mean ROI is just the total amount won or lost divided by the total amount bet. So that's why if you have a big sample size, the ROIs are going to be in single digits, and the units, just adds them up. I mean, I don't know if there's an app, but it's. I mean, Excel is obviously awesome, and it took me about it took me about 2 minutes to make my little spreadsheet there, and so I don't know if there's an app. There might be one, but I use an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe SBR could make one. I don't know. Yeah, sure.
That's a good idea.
All right. Love to talk about this for another hour, but we got to move on because in NHL we got a full card here. Not an NHL card with 3 games, an NHL card with 15 fucking games. Jim and I, of course, both coming off of 3-0 days, and all 3 of those picks for both of us were underdog lines, right?
Yeah.
That's right. Very, very nicely done, Jim. Very nicely done, Jim. Let's quickly throw up our NHL record just because it does look so nice now because we're both positive. And again, once again, you can see we're not positive a half unit. We're not up an eighth of a unit, Jim. We're up a couple units each. Very nice. Thank God. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. Lord Almighty.
Man.
All right, so we got a huge slate of games tonight. I don't even know where to start, but I guess the first place we can start would be with Toronto. We both took a fucking loser. Wow. With Toronto in their last game, they got blasted by Arizona, but they're clearly a good team. Now they're going up against Florida, a very beatable team, and this is a very, very low line, right? Suspiciously low. Now, I understand if maybe the line is a reaction to the last game against Arizona, but Toronto is a significantly better team than Florida. Why would they not be a great bet here on the puck line?
Well, I've been saying for a while, and I do believe that the Panthers will get better and better and better. They have a good roster. But you were right. I was surprised at the line. Initially this morning I wanted to take the Panthers on the money line, and then when I saw what it was, I was like, well, that's not worth the risk. Babcock was very upset after the game against the Coyotes. He said that they weren't here today, and Babcock coach teams rarely don't show up in back-to-back games. I think this is a good spot for the Leafs. I agree with you. We were told that the flu had run through the Panthers team on their last road trip. Now, on the Panthers side of things, Luongo is playing very well of late. He's won 3 of 4, allowed 7 goals in those 4 games. And I do think the Panthers will come on at some point. So the Panthers put up 52 shots versus the Ducks when they lost 3-2. I think the goals will come. The Panthers have the second worst penalty killing, and that's where the Leafs can really take advantage with their 7th in the league power play. Yeah,
I was thinking about why would we not like the over here? Because you think Luongo is really that good right now?
I think Luongo, and I know very well from his time in Vancouver, he's a very streaky goalie.
Yeah.
And that gave me pause. Devin Turcotte comes in and says, Florida without Derek McKenzie and Radim Vrbata tonight. Not marquee players, but depth players and leaders. Alonzo, our man Alonzo says, Maple Leaf puck line easy.
All right, I'm going to take the first period over. I've been having a lot of my totals plays this year because I track all my leans. A lot of my totals plays would have been winners if I had just taken the first period lines on a lot of these games. So many unders that I took that were first period unders. I'm going to take the first period over here on Toronto, Florida, just minus 1.5, minus 118, and I will take a shot with Toronto on the puck line just because it's such a friggin' Toronto minus 1 puck line because it's such a low line here. The money line part of that will be minus 116. And the puck line part of that will be plus 243. Wow. Do you think I'm making a mistake here? You really like Florida. You're impressed with them as a team.
I am impressed with them, and I think they're getting better and better. But that's a great line you're getting.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely great line, and I get it. I completely get it.
All right,
and a lot of these guys are with you. Jamel Whitten says, I think Toronto is low-hanging fruit and also the over.
It's a suspiciously low line, but I'm going to take I like the over as well. I'm going to stick with the first period over at minus 118, 1.5, and the Toronto minus 1 line. And that will be it for me. Are you passing on this one, Jim?
I am passing. Gerard thinks it's the best play of the day.
Okay, hopefully. Hopefully it is. All right, Jim, we're not going to be able to get into every game in depth, but let's try to touch on everything and, of course, make sure we get all our picks in.
Sure.
What are you liking for today's card, Jim?
There's a bunch that I like, and I've been trying to narrow it down a bit. I'm taking the Islanders on the puck line tonight.
That was one I was thinking about,
It worked
Jim.
great for us yesterday, and I think that we know what's the problem. Radko Gudas is all of the Flyers' physicality. They've lost 5 straight, been outscored 17-8 during that stretch. With Radko out, along with Andrew McDonald, their defense is small and in big trouble. Newvirth was their bright light, shining light for the early part of the season. He did not look good in that last night. Now Brian Elliott will get back in the pipes. He has not looked good. And then on the other side of things, Grice has won the starting job for the Islanders. He's 4-0-1 in November, and the Islanders will get Cal Clutterbuck back. And as you guys know, I'm a big proponent of these guys with truculence and with toughness. They're so important to these teams. The Islanders are healthy, getting toughness back, have a hot goaltender, and they're going against a team that's falling apart and doesn't have a strong defense. Too easy.
How do you feel about NHL players who are obviously little peenie wipes? You don't like them, huh?
I don't like them because I was one of them. I was one of them, and I don't respect them.
Very nice. Let's use that clip for the comedy clip of the week that we do in these shows. All right, I was thinking the same way. Islanders, I was also thinking the over is a good bet, and also the Islanders team total over. What do you think, Jim?
Well, I think that the Flyers are going to have problems, and their only chance is basically on the power play. But then a lot of guys like it here. A lot of guys like the Islanders and the Islanders winning, but there is one here saying likes the over as well. Daryl Lyles likes Islanders over. John Rodriguez says you're bugging, Jimmy.
Why? Because he doesn't like the Islanders on this game?
I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like winners.
I don't know. Yes, Alonzo Shiver says Islanders win easy. All right, I am going to take the over in this game. 5.5 minus 110. It's right now. It's 6 heavily juiced to the under at a bunch of places, but at market wide. But Heritage still has 5.5 minus 110. I'm going to take the over 5.5 minus 110. I would also be thinking about the Islanders team total over, which is just 3 minus 105. What do you think about that, Jim?
I think that's a good spot. Wow.
And I am going to take the Islanders -1, not on the puck line, but -1. So the Islanders, the money line part of that will be -148, and the puck line part of that, best line right now, again, line shopping is essential. You wager as the best line. It's -1.5 plus 195. So that's the puck line part of that for me. And Jim's taking the Islanders puck line plus 195. Love to jump on this one a little bit. Actually, and I'm going to take the first period over as well. I like the over so much in this one that I am going to double up on it. I'm going to take the first period over, which would be 1.5. Just got to quote these lines here. 1.5 minus 109 at Pinnacle. All right, Jim, what else do you like today?
I'm going to take a stab, and I wouldn't do this if I didn't win with them last night. But I'm going to take a stab at the Canucks, on the Canucks, on the road against the Penguins.
Oh, I was thinking the same way, Jim, only because the line is massive.
The line is massive, and the Penguins are missing Malkin. So let's go over a couple of these points. The Nucks have 2 goalies playing at a very high level. So they're playing back-to-back, but we're going to have Nilsson in there tonight. 4-1-1, 2.30 goals against average, 929 save percentage. And Chris Tanev could be back. As soon as they announce Tanev is back, that line is going to change. He's extremely important defenseman. Right. And Stetcher might be back too. These are huge additions. We've lost Derek Dorsett. He's gone back to Vancouver due to cervical fusion surgery that he had last year, recurrence of problems. That sucks. That toughness is extremely important. He leads the league in penalty minutes, and he leads our team with 39 hits. That hurts. The Nucks are now 7-3 on the road. And then we're playing this Penguins team that's going to be missing Evgeny Malkin. And the reason why that's so big is because they don't have center depth. Right. Now, they're hoping to get Carter Rowney back from the broken hand. I'll tell you what, if he comes back and plays, he's not going to be able to win faceoffs because his hand is coming back from a broken hand injury. So they're going to have Riley Sheen and Greg McKegg as the 2- and 3-line centers. They had Jake Gwensel there in practice. He hasn't played center since college.
And they're also just not very good. Even with Malkin, they just weren't scoring. They weren't winning. And now you're putting them up as a massive favorite once again. I'm going to be on this one with you, Jim. Plus 176 is the best line we can get right now at BetOnline and at Pinnacle. And I was thinking about the under on this one as well. Maybe the first period under. What do you think? You think Vancouver suddenly scoring?
I think that Vancouver has a really good vibe right now. And, a lot of people took the first period under in that Flyers-Canucks game, and we stayed away from that, and it was 2-1 early. So I am concerned.
Okay, I'm going on that one with you. Jim and I are both on Vancouver plus 176. That was one of the plays that I wanted to give. I was scratching my head. I was like, Pittsburgh is not that good that they should be laying minus 200 to a team like this. All right, who else do you like, Jim?
I like the Red Wings. Now, this is another case of we're watching the Oilers look terrible.
Yes.
17 days ago, the Red Wings shut out the Oilers 4-0.
How nice was it that I finally decided, you know what? Edmonton does suck. I'm taking St. Louis. And I had some balls, Jim.
And it looked so good.
Yeah.
And I went 3-0 last night. I went 3-0 last night and was angry that I didn't take that with you
did
guys.
have the over on that game, but it's just Edmonton. They're terrible. They got McDavid. He's not enough. You need more.
He's not enough, and Draisaitl might not be. You might want to wait more than 1 year before you pay somebody $8 million a year. The big thing with the Red Wings is they have Daly and DeKeyser back. They are very healthy. Only Martin Frk is out, and then they lost Wiskowski to the suspension in the brawl incident. When the Oilers are on the road, the home team has that giant advantage of last change. That's going to be so helpful because the Red Wings do have some really good defensive players, and they have a great defensive line that's going to be on them all the time. Oilers have lost 3 in a row, being outscored 18-7 in the process. They're 0-2 on this 5-game road trip. They're only better than the Coyotes in the West. McDavid's sick. Talbot's awful. So if Talbot, we don't know who's going to play today because they did pull Talbot, but if Brossoit plays, he actually looked pretty good last outing, but 3 games in the NHL, I think this is a good spot.
Yeah. Okay, so you want Detroit what? On the money line, puck line? What do you want here?
I want Detroit on the puck line.
On the puck line, best line shopping as we speak. Shopping. Wow, line shopping really matters. This is why. If you have Bookmaker, you get $2.30. If you have Pinnacle, you get $2.42.
Wow.
If you have 5 dimes, you get $2.45. If you have the Greek, you get $2.60. And that's what Jim's going to get.
Wow.
Jim's going to get Detroit plus $2.60 on the puck line. That, folks, is why line shopping fucking matters, okay?
Wow.
All right? Okay, you line shop, you're getting better odds. You're getting better odds, you're winning more money, which is the whole point of all this. Line shopping, an essential tool, essential thing to do when you're sports betting. SBRodds.com. All right, let's go, Jim.
That was great.
I'm going crazy. It's a huge slate of games. All right.
Huge slate of games. So I'm very interested in the Capitals tonight, but I have paused, and I hope we can handle this, work this out together, because I'm also interested in the under, but I'm not as confident as I am in the other picks. The Senators are slumping. They've lost 3 straight. They've scored just 3 goals in the process. They only had 20 shots on goal against the Rangers, who are an easy team to play against. They're 2 for their last 21 on the power play. They've just lost Chris Weidman and Mark Berwecki. Now, they have called up Thomas Chabot, but he's a kid. How much is he going to help? I don't know. Now, the issue is, why aren't the Capitals scoring? Ovechkin has 0 goals in 6 games. Backstrom has 0 goals and 4 assists in his last 15 games. And Holtby has been incredible at home this month. 5-1-0, 1.96 goals against average, 938 save percentage. Is the under just the low-hanging fruit?
I was thinking about that one. It was my lean on that one, and it was my question mark lean. Is it too obvious? I mean, both these teams are having problems scoring. So, in professional sports, especially in the NFL, a lot of times you see this in the NFL, 2 teams that have been scoring like 9 points a game. They're matched up against each other. The total's 37.5. You're like, oh, under, obviously, right? No, it goes way over. I got to be leaning under here, but I'm not going to take it, and I'm not going to take the first period under either.
I am also concerned about the under because I think that the Capitals could wake up. And I didn't like the Duchesne trade that much. He's obviously a guy with some heart issues. Alonzo Shivers says, fuck yeah, Jimmy. He says, Caps puck line. Jin Rummy says, no value, Caps Senators. George says that Lane loves the Caps tonight. McGogster says Chabot is not ready. Watch him in the AHL for Belleville, and the kid looked lost. I would fade Ottawa. That's enough for me, guys. Thank you. I'm gonna leave the under alone. Okay. And I'm going to take the Capitals on the puck line.
Oh shit! All right, let's do some line shopping right now as we speak. Actually, not that great lines here. -1.5 best line we can give you would be plus 214 at Pinnacle.
I'll take it.
Okay, Washington, puck line, plus 214. Jim with a ton of underdogs here. Maybe he'll break even, or if he hits all of them, as he has done before, we're talking 10 units here. You're looking at like 8 or 10 units here, Jim. All right, let's see. What else do we have here on today's card? Well, there's a bunch of other plays I'm going to make sure that I give before we wrap up this segment, but what else are you looking at, Jim?
Those are the plays that I like the best. I have all these other games capped, so if you want to talk about a lean, I can hammer that with you.
Yeah, all right. All right, well, let's talk about Minnesota-Buffalo. I mean, what's up with this one? At some point, Buffalo is going to have some value at home against weak teams coming in. Are they maybe getting a little bit disrespected here as a big underdog here? And maybe we want to take a shot with the under again. This is like the Ottawa-Washington game. 2 teams just aren't scoring. Is the under a good play or is it too obvious?
God, I was looking at this game for hours, and I think the Sabres do have value, but they've lost 6 straight. And the issue is Jack Eichel. I thought he was going to be a top 10 scorer in this league, and maybe he will find his groove. 5 goals, 12 assists, 17 points in 21 games. He needs to do more. Kane got 20 points in 21 games. Now, Robert Lehner, his numbers have not been good this year. 3.08 goals against average, 903 save percentage. He has a career save percentage of 917. So will he start playing better? I was trying to figure this game out all night. Dom Ricci says under 5.5 scare me this year in the NHL.
Yes.
They scare us all.
Yes.
Stahl, Zucker, and Niederreiter have been delivering all of the offense for the Wild. They're not getting any secondary scoring. Dubnyk has come on after a slow start, and he better because he'll lose his job to Stalock. Wild are a good team. 16th overall in goals per game, 8th in goals allowed, 13th in power play, 7th in penalty killing. I expected more from both of these teams.
All right, the other game that I wanted to make sure that I got to was the Rangers-Carolina game. Obviously, both teams playing well. The Rangers do appear to have some issues on the road, but I was thinking the over might be a good play. This is another one where the market has 6 at plus money. Heritage has 5.5 minus 120, and I think I like the over 5.5 minus 120 here and the first period over. What do you think, Jim?
I like that you're on the over. Teuvo Teravainen has created some really nice chemistry with young Sebastian Aho. And Aho, just like last year, he started off exactly the same. Didn't do anything in the first 15 games or so and then came on. Teravainen was just named first star of the week, 5 goals, 5 assists, plus 5 in 4 games. The Rangers have scored 3 or more goals in 6 of their last 7 games. Yeah. Now, Carolina has allowed more than 2 goals only twice in their last 8 games.
You think they're tough defensively, huh?
They're improving defensively. They're getting a lot from Darling, and I was disappointed in that young defensive core in the beginning of the year, and they seem to be coming together. They're all very high draft picks. It's a tough spot. So
you don't like the over necessarily?
I did like it until I started studying more about how well Carolina has been playing defensively. I love that they're scoring now, and the Rangers are scoring now, and I definitely get why you have a lean in that spot.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
Oh, and no McDonough tonight. Great call, Devin Turcotte. This is a huge thing. No McDonough tonight should allow more space for the Canes. Mm-hmm. That is a very, very good point. Wow. Wow. That's a...
Yeah, so that supports the over. That supports
absolutely
the over.
It does.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. I will take the first period over 1.5 minus 113 currently at Pinnacle. The full game over is definitely a lean at 5.5. All right, you know what? I think this line is going to get bet up. And again, at 6 o'clock, the 6 o'clock show, we might be able to take these things back. So I will take the over 5.5 minus 120 right now at Pinnacle. And if I decide later on that I don't like it, I will pull it in the 6 o'clock game. Probably taking 6.
I'm going to ride with you.
Really?
I think that's a great call. I think I love that note from Turcotte. Thank you for your help there. McDonough is an enormously important player.
So you're going to take the over on what? The full game or the first period or what?
I'm going to take the full game over 5.5.
Okay, 5.5 minus 120 is the current line at Pinnacle, and I guess that's it that I wanted to make sure that I gave as a pick. The Calgary-Columbus game is obviously very interesting, but it's a 10-foot pole game for me, so I'm staying away from that. And then the only other one, let's quickly get to it, San Jose and Arizona. Arizona, 3 straight underdog wins, very impressive. Do they get a 4th win here? San Jose obviously having problems scoring. Once again, I was thinking about an under here, first period under here, maybe a San Jose team total under here. What do you think, Jim?
I definitely understand it and understand why you'd feel that way. Again, I was saying that when the Coyotes come home, I'm not going to trust them after this winning streak. But Antti Ranta is rounding into form. And the Coyotes have a really good top 6 defensive unit. Mm-hmm. It's their forwards that are weak. Now, their defense isn't tough, but it's a good, fast, puck-moving defensive unit. Sharks have looked terrible, losing 3 straight. Jonas Donskoy has provided some scoring for the league's worst offense, 7 goals, 19 games. So he plays with Logan Couture and Thomas Hertl. They're the only guys scoring. I'm shocked that little Joe Pavelski's not adding any offense. I'm sure that will change. Brent Burns has 0 goals after scoring 29 last year. And then Martin Jones continues to play great. 2.11 goals against average, 926 save percentage. I totally understand why you'd be feeling the under here.
And I'm thinking about the San Jose team total under, which is at Pinnacle, it's 2.5 at plus money. At Heritage, it's 3 minus 135.
Wow.
You think San Jose scores 4 goals? Maybe, but is that worth a shot? And I'm on it. San Jose under 3 minus 135. Pinnacle, if you want to take some volatility, has under 2.5 plus 128. Heritage has under 3 minus 135, and that's what I'm going to take the San Jose team total under 3 minus 135. Jim the bag.
I think that's a great call. I absolutely can understand.
You want to go on it with me? You'll think about it.
I will.
Maybe at 6 o'clock. That's the good thing about doing these 6 o'clock shows. Again, we are doing a show at 6 o'clock Eastern time every day where we go over the line moves from the day on the picks. We review our picks. We add other picks that we think we might like. And at this point in the season, we're also talking a lot of college basketball, which at this point in the day, Jim and I have not had a lot of time to go over, although Jim has. I have not. All right. Is there anything else that we have to get to a college basketball just a little bit because I know you've looked at the card. Is there anything else that you want to add into NHL before we wrap this up?
I feel like we should talk quickly about the Blackhawks Lightning game because it's such an enormously big game. I know my man Tay D loves the Lightning -1.5. You know, I was shocked that the Lightning played so poorly against the Islanders. The Blackhawks, I'm just waiting for them to be a better hockey team, and I'm certain that they will because they are 12th in offense at 3.1 goals per game, and then 26th in their power play at 16.1%. So when that goes up, which it has to, when that goes up to 5 to 8% higher, then they will become a top 5 scoring team in the NHL. It's just that's what the numbers are saying. They're getting great goaltending from Corey Crawford. They're coming off a huge win in Pittsburgh.
I was thinking about the over in this game. What do you think about that? You don't like it, or the first period over?
I think there's a lot of potential there for goals. I absolutely do. But in saying that, the Blackhawks have been playing so well defensively and not well offensively. And in saying this, I did realize I do have one more.
Okay, let's hear it.
I'm taking the Predators on the puck line this evening against the Canadiens. I love betting against the Canadiens. I know that they've played much better than the scores have indicated over the last 2 games. But since the tourist trade, Kevin Fiala has 2 goals and 3 assists in 5 games. And that really, man, now they have a second unit behind that monster first line. The Preds have scored 37 goals in their last 8 games. Pekka Rinne, who's getting the starts, 11-3-2, 2.48 goals against average, .921 save percentage. And the big deal is Shea Weber was a late scratch last night. He's not likely to play against his former team. The Habs allowed 2 goals in 59 seconds last night. That's the 9th time this year in 22 games. 9 times they've allowed 2 goals in under a minute. What a bunch of bums.
Yeah.
And also, Antti Niemi might be getting the start. And that's why the line wasn't up for the longest time, because we don't know who's going to start. I think this is low-hanging fruit. Phil McCracken's with me. Yes, Preds puck line. Devin Turcotte, love the Preds pick.
Yeah. I was thinking that way as well, and I will take it. I'll take it on the -1 line, though. Nashville -1. You're going to take the puck line?
Yes.
Okay, market wide, it's a +150. That is many places. And for me, the money line part of that is going to be -201, and the puck line part of that will be +150. So that'll be a modest favorite line there for Nashville -1. And just very quickly, what do you think about the Chicago-Tampa Bay first period over 1.5? You think you agree with that or not really? You think Chicago's playing well defensively and Crawford's playing very well?
And I think they're going to be extremely cautious against the Lightning.
Bay. Yeah. All right. Okay. I'll stay off that for now. I'll think about it. Anything else you want to add before we move on to college basketball, Jim?
No, that is everything.
All right. So let me review the picks. Jim, in this case, when I'm reading your picks, don't read the comments. Listen to the picks just to make sure I got it all, okay? Sure. I have you on Islanders puck line +195, Vancouver money line +176, Detroit puck line +260, Washington puck line +214, Carolina over 5.5 -120, and the Nashville puck line +150. Is that it? Did I miss anything?
No, I believe that's right.
That's it. Okay. Now look at some comments while I read my picks and see if there's any last-minute comments that we want to get to, and then we'll get to college basketball. My picks are San Jose team total under 3 -135, Nashville -1, Florida first period over 1.5 -118, Toronto -1, Islanders over 5.5 -110, Islanders -1, Islanders first period over 1.5 -109. I'm on Vancouver money line with Jim the Bag at +176, and I'm on the Carolina over 5.5 -120, and the first period over 1.5 -113. And that's it for me in NHL. Jim, any comments that might illuminate some of the opinions we've given? Or?
Yeah, McCracken says Nashville hot, Habs not. Yeah, Ish Kurt says yes, 4-2 Nashville. Devin Turcotte's with you, says I feel Tampa always scores early at home. Now they're playing against a much older veteran-type hockey team that will be quite worried about how they play. And they just played Pittsburgh to a 2-1 game. They're just not the Blackhawks that we remember at this point. That can obviously change. McGoxer says that Tampa Bay-Chicago game will be a hell of a game to watch. Ish Kurt loves the Bolts.
Tim Reichert says, if you don't hit the like button, you don't want the world to be a better place. Great comment, Tim Reichert. Thank you so much. All right, and last comment is that John Carey said, by the way, Pete, Lakers against Bulls over yesterday was a good pick, but both teams just decided to play, let's see who can miss the most shots, smack my damn head. Yeah, listen, in basketball, as we know, shooting percentages are very volatile, and there's a lot of randomness involved, and so when you're betting totals, if the shooting percentages go against you, you're going to lose. That's why you have to bet appropriate bet size appropriately. And why you can't ever read too much into one win or one loss or one winning streak or one losing streak. All right, Jim, are we done with NHL?
We are done with NHL. Angel Romero has a very interesting question. Do you want me just to copy it for the Late Show because of time? Or
yeah, sure. What's the question?
Well, he was hoping that you could answer this question for someone who bets more than a K a week. What's the best advice you can give on how to cash out? Is there a certain system that should be followed daily or weekly?
How to cash out? You mean like what should the strategy be?
Yeah, to take money out of your account.
Is he saying that because he doesn't trust where what book it's in?
That's why don't you follow up on that, because it's an interesting question, but I guess when you are up and doing successfully, is there a time when you should take out 20% or 30% and put it in the bank?
I mean, if the reason for doing that is because you don't trust where you have your money, I can certainly understand that. But I honestly I would consider Pinnacle to be as safe as any bank, and actually safer, because those banks will fucking steal your money. They will steal your money. Trust me on that one. Pinnacle is as safe as any bank in the world. Bookmaker is as safe as any bank in the world, I think, in my opinion. The Greek as well. So these are places that take massive amounts of action and are routinely paying out and taking in big bets from professional bettors. So if the point is if your worry is security of your funds, then I wouldn't worry about it. If your concern is that you're worried that if you leave it in there you'll bet it and you don't want, what I'm saying, why would you?
I think that's what he's thinking about. But if you're betting a K a week, you must be competent and you must be doing a pretty good job. Perfect Rotation says pull it out like every 2 weeks, like a normal job. That's an interesting idea.
I mean, if you're worried about security of your funds and you pull it out, I wouldn't put it in a friggin' U.S. bank. I'll tell you that much. No, I'm kidding around. I'll put it in the U.S. bank. If you can be more specific about that, we can definitely address that one at 6 o'clock. We do have to quickly get to a college basketball, Jim. I have not looked at this college. I have not looked at the evening games. I did look at the early games, and I don't even know how it did, but I did tweet out Iowa first half. I don't know if that cashed.
It cashed. It's 49-37 Iowa.
49-37?
Yeah.
What? Haters, what? What do you got to say now? How about the Purdue team total over?
What was it at?
81.5.
It's not looking good.
Oh,
Purdue and Tennessee are tied 31-31 at the half.
Okay, that's not good, but it's not terrible. If you saw the BYU game yesterday, a lot of times these college basketball games, especially teams that play that style, like BYU and like Purdue, you can have a first half that's like 35-33, and then the second half has 116 points in it scored. So that's not looking good, but we'll see, especially when it's a team like Purdue. You know what I mean?
They can put up 55 in the second half.
Yeah. All right, so haters, what's the opposite of what? How do you say, what's the opposite of what? Can we look that up at some point? Whatever the opposite of what is, that's what I have to say to you haters. Yes, you might be right. I might have a loser there with Purdue, but I nailed Iowa. And so I did tweet out 2 picks in college basketball. The rest of the card I have not looked at yet, but I will look at it and tweet out picks for the rest of the card. Jim, I know you've looked at some of these games. What do you have to say about this one?
I need to break them down further as well. I'm very interested in Marquette LSU. Obviously, the Wichita State Notre Dame game we are going to definitely hammer this evening.
And the Wichita State game, I'm telling you, if you bet Wichita State the first half and it loses, and then you double up on the second half to make your money back and make a unit, one of those picks will win. You know what I mean?
They are playing very well.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. But when we broke down the card, there's not a lot of real close games. It's about taking advantage of where you think there's value. And that's just going to take more studying in 29, 15 NBA games, 14 NHL games. So I'm going to study all afternoon.
Rick Hammond saying Purdue review last year's tourney game. So I guess he's saying that the under was a good play. Yeah, it was low. Yeah, and I definitely noticed that the total took a big jump down closer to tip off, which made me nervous. And again, I didn't take the over on the game. I just took the Purdue team total over. I might have been wrong on that one. Absolutely, you're right, Rick Hammond. That might have been a mistake there. Okay, so are you going to add any college basketball picks, or going to wait till 6 o'clock?
I'm going to wait till 6 o'clock.
All right, I guess guess we can wrap it up then. We're a little bit past 1 o'clock right now. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments. Today was a pretty chaotic show. We would normally get to a lot more comments, but, we got to cover all the games. A huge slate of games today, and we will be back at 6 o'clock Eastern time to do all this shit all over again, look at line movements, add to our picks, take away from our picks, and, of course, a lot more discussion of college basketball. That will be 6 o'clock right here at sportsbookreview.com.